Alright, good evening everyone, and welcome to the championship match of Castlevania Aria Randomizer. I'm Freelance1787, and joining me tonight for commentary is Fuse CB.
Hi, this should be a great match between the two of them. Jupiter has already taken one loss to podolakboys in the winner's final. Well, no, I guess it's not winner's final, but then has come back from the end of the losers bracket to face off again here, and this should be a great match.
So coming into this match, what are the different playstyles from the two runners? Kind of what to expect watching at home.
I would generally expect that Podolak would be having a little more of a following vanilla routing, whereas Jupiter will generally go for some of the sequence breaks, like the early floating gardens has been seen in the previous matchup between these two, which actually ended up being a huge setback to Jupiter doing the full clock tower and gardens. We're starting now, so okay. So we have the soul we started with here is, I actually don't remember what the name of this is.
I think it's one of the enemies you see in the underground waterway area.
Yeah, Man-Eater, that's what it is, yeah. The three little worm things coming out of the skull. And we don't see any immediate progression here, so we're probably going to see him run down to the waterway.
Yeah, I can see safe. Looks like both safe splitting could be an option here.
Yeah, I would expect to see either a sleep or reset out of both players.
Yeah, Podolak picking up. Podolak just picked up a final guard soul from one of the bats, and Jupiter picking up a werewolf soul from the candle. Well, they look like handles. Podolak also picking up the Ghost Dancer soul that, when equipped, will increase his luck by 4. Although luck can be finicky in these Metroidvanias.
Yeah, the luck is almost completely worthless in Aria Star. It makes such a little difference that nobody actually worries about it. So that's either, not anti-venom, it's the other one, isn't it? For petrifying. So they're both probably just going to reset out of there. Unless they want to keep some of the souls they got.
Yeah, Jupiter definitely quit out of there. It's like Podolak is just going to walk out of there.
Yeah, Podolak wants to keep his werewolf, it seems. So Jupiter gets up to Creaking Skull first because of this.
Yeah. You can see that he's doing the jump slashing with the short sword in order to... Wait, no. His starting weapon. Saw that it wasn't an important drop, so he just kept going.
So we may see a faster Creaking Skull fight from Podolak due to the werewolf here. Jupiter was mainly just hammering out with the starter knife. Yeah, we're seeing those. That is a lot of hits, a 24 right there.
Not damage, it's damage per second in this case.
Okay,
looks like... Yeah, it looks like we got a vanilla flying armor soul. Alright,
so that's generally is interesting to have this because we're going to end up with the cow room damage boost, which is a somewhat finicky thing that throws off a lot of players. I would expect both of them to probably make it through without too much trouble, but it can be a time sink for people when they screw it up. Another castle map already. So not really much equipment upgrades going on here. The katana. Okay, so that's a decent weapon upgrade for this point.
Oh, it looks like Jupiter's just avoiding enemies at this point.
Yeah, kind of typical. You takes a lot of time to kill them, and they just
Alright, so
Alright,
he's...
so basic upgrade to armor over there. What? Quite sure what Jupiter's planning on here.
I think he's skipping
did
that.
Did he take a hit off of the axe armor?
Yes, he did.
Okay. That probably threw off his setup. Okay, so Podolak makes it over there.
Alright, see what soul he's got? He's got the Undine soul.
Alright, and Jupiter's got it now as well. So that right there pretty much caught Podolak up.
Yeah. And it'll definitely open up a couple other areas because you can, with that soul equipped, obviously walk on water as the game tells you.
So this is out of logic, by the way, just to make sure people know that. So we would expect to see either Malthus to just double jump, or I think Panther puts that in logic possibly, or any form of fly. So it wouldn't expect you to actually use that. And it doesn't actually open anything yet at this point in time, because normally that would open up Flying Garden. But I believe you still need Malthus to get up there.
Alright. Looks like both runners are heading for the study area. The zombie soldier dropped in the Ukubak soul, which I'm not sure how that one particularly works, but obviously I don't think that's a soul that changes the routing for this game.
Yeah, I'm not one that I remember seeing anybody actually use. That's a really nice damage knock through that Jupiter did. And there's the first book, third, well, book 3, but first book we're actually seeing is Giant Bat Locked. There's no other combinations of tech that will let you pick up that location.
And I believe that book was yellow, so it would tell you which yellow soul would be necessary in order to get the true ending for this game with Graham in the Graham fight.
In this randomizer, however, unlike the older one, there can be a second copy of that book around. There might not be, but it's possible that there is, and it would be always in a separate region. So if they didn't find Flying Bat and just ended up with Hippogriff, it's possible they could pull it elsewhere as well.
Looks like both runners did a save split at the end of the Castle Quarter area, doing that one check, and then they just reset the game. It's like we got a movement soul here.
Kicker. I was expecting that to be Malthus. So Kicker is not actually useful until you get Malthus under these under normal movement and mechanics.
Yeah, seeing that soul, it reminds me of the Julius run, where pretty much the movement is jumping and then dive kicking.
Well, that is a fairly fast way to move around.
Yep.
When you don't have Panther.
Looks like Valkyrie. It looks like Jupiter just picked up the Valkyrie soul from that pedestal.
Yeah, that's a nice attack that people like.
And a $2,000 money bag, so that could possibly be a factor if it's a shop. Depending on what's in the shop.
And Podolak making good use of that werewolf, just wiping out the bone pillars really easily. So one thing I've noticed watching Podolak is I see him make really good use of souls that a lot of people don't ever bother equipping.
Looks like Jupiter is about to start the Manticore fight.
And was that 110 or 111 damage for a Valkyrie hit? And it's just down.
Looks like he's got a Gordon soul from the Skeleton Knight.
Podolak doing something on the stairs, kind of seemed to get caught up there for a minute. Okay, so at this point, normally I would expect that people would take that upper exit out of the Manticore room and go head up to that teleport. It's generally the more popular play. In this case, they don't have Malthus, so they can't do that.
So they have to go down to the study area instead.
Yeah, because the thing about study is it's a very long walk, and there's no way to bail out of it. There's no teleport room down here. You could just, if you go in it, you just gotta go walk all the way back out. However, if you can hold off on checking that until go into Forbidden area later on, you can take the exit out of Forbidden into Study and just go backwards through Study once instead of going all the way down and then all the way back. In this case, it doesn't seem that the runners have an option unless they find Malthus right here and decide to just backtrack back out instead of Study, but still haven't seen it yet.
Alright, we'll see what's in the melon room.
There we go, that's probably Malthus.
There it is.
Yep. So, down a little bit in this room, right next to the save point, is another location that tends to get progression a lot, as it is, logically, it's slide locked, but a lot of the time, you can hit it without slide if you have good ability souls or a very large weapon. In this case, we see Jupiter found Skula, so Jupiter now has underwater access.
And that could, depending on, that gives him early access to the waterway as well as the arena, if he wanted to go that route. Looks like he's doing a couple item checks before deciding whether or not to take on the Great Armor boss.
So yeah, this backdash door is another one that tends to be very good for finding progression, as it is the only location that comes into logic from backdash.
Alright, looks like Podolak has picked up the Malthus Soul as well. And the backdash door yielding a cream puff. I'm just imagining Strizer saying, cream puff. Right now. Alright, so now they're on the Great Armor... So now Jupiter's on the Great Armor boss.
Yeah,
well,
between Valkyrie and that Katana, this should be an easy fight for him.
Yeah. Both runners pretty much going the same route up to this point. Did not catch what that item was behind Hammer.
Was it a skeleton key?
Might have been.
Well, we'll get a second chance to see here in a minute. But in any case, this is where we've got our chance for divergence here. Up until this point, they needed Malthus to go anywhere else other than here. Yeah, so at this point, they did most of the checks before they found Malthus. So from this point, they can follow logic going to either dance hall or inner quarters. They could also go. Technically, it's out of logic still, but they can get into floating gardens. Normally, you're supposed to have Undyne, which they do have. There's book 2 over there, which Jupiter's gone for.
Yeah, he's gonna use the box to get up there since he has the Malthus Soul.
Yeah, and lastly, they can head down underwater and go to reservoirs and arena and cemetery.
Seeing Podolak doing the dive kicking strat. Alright.
So I didn't get a good look at that. I'm thinking it was that, I can't pronounce it, but that thing that's the cow thing that petrifies you. On this randomizer, unlike the other one, the old one used to give you the name, the write-up. the game shows you about the monster description. In this one, it will tell you it will just tell you what the soul is, because most of the time people either recognize it or proceed to go pausing the game and looking up what it is. But then after that, it will tell you what enemy will drop it if you wanted to try to farm it instead of finding the candle for it. So you have two options, because there always is a candle for it that you can pick up. But you can also just choose to try your luck if it's the only thing that's holding you back.
Looks like Jupiter picked up a flesh golem soul from the pedestal.
Okay, so Jupiter is getting close to the teleport here with Podolak not far behind, and we'll have to see where they choose to go, because as mentioned, they can head to dance hall, inner quarters, floating gardens, or down underwater.
Pretty much the entire map is open at this point, save for a few rooms having progress blocked by certain souls that they don't have available to them right now.
Well, they don't have any means of flying yet. Considering that Skula to get underwater was slide blocked, I would tend to expect that slide or some means of flying would be in logic before that point for giant.
So we're getting another white dragon on that pedestal. So you said that all the souls required to beat this game are on pedestals, right?
Yes, they are.
We'll find out if they've already hit on the particular souls necessary or not.
Okay, so there is a second copy of Book 2 here. In regards to the books, there's always a random chance, it's 50-50, whether there's one copy or two copies. If there's two copies, it is placed under about the same logical conditions, so it should come into logic at about the same point, and it's always in a different area in the different map region. So in this case, it was simply Malthus locked. One was at the entrance, and the other was down in study. Just Malthus locked in both cases.
Alright, so it looks like Podolak's about to pick up the White Dragon Soul from the pedestal.
So it looks like Jupiter is going down to reservoirs. This is so probably going to see the Merman room here, which is a pretty good play, because when it because these one-off checks are actually tend to be pretty good in this. As
looks like Podolak picked up a blue book. It said Kato Plebis, so they
yeah, okay, that is that cow thing that petrifies you.
Yeah. See what he does.
Core for Jupiter. That will be very useful for getting down long hallways quickly, and just in general doing a lot of damage, especially to bosses.
Alright, checking that item check in the reservoir.
And Podolak seems to be heading over more towards the vanilla route. I'm guessing he's going up the dance hall? Or no, past that? Floating gardens, maybe?
Alright,
Giant
looks like
bat underwater. So Jupiter now knows where to get that other book.
yeah, it looks like Podolak's heading for floating gardens.
Yeah, and nice use of the giant bat bear by Jupiter just to, steer down this corridor without, if you land too hard, you kind of get stuck to the ground for a moment.
Yeah, it looks like he picked up a Valor Soul from the red pedestal. So I imagine he's headed for the either the teleport or finishing off the underground reservoir area. Or pretty much the beginning of the Julius all bosses speedrun route.
So Jupiter could be heading up towards Forbidden or just kind of carrying on towards Arena, I would expect. Can't tell for sure yet. He's just in the check in the bottom right.
Picked up a short sword there before that. Sleeping being the save and quit function of this game.
And Podolak getting some armor upgrades. Both of these runners were on pretty starter tier armor and weapons at this point. Rush Soul for Podolak in Garden.
Yeah, Jupiter dealing with some Medusa heads. Classic Vania, Metroidvania, Medusa heads suck to deal with as enemies because they're just in your way, and especially in these type of games, they get in your face, and the yellow ones inflict a stoning condition.
So the first, behind the waterfall item, just a cup of tea or coffee. Jupiter using the giant bat to do these higher up checks. Might be a little bit difficult for MP management to climb that far that quickly.
So,
did he actually make it to the top left one? I didn't see that. I didn't think he did.
I believe he did, but he didn't pick up the item.
Okay. That makes sense. He tends to duck into a lot of rooms very quickly.
Yeah, so his next move is going for the teleporter, whereas Podolak is in the clock tower. There's quite a bit of items in the clock tower, obviously, in a boss fight.
Yeah, the clock tower is a decent check when you have Skula, because if you just go into it without Skula, you're walking a long way in and just backtracking a long way back out. In this case, there is this kind of trapdoor exit that, with 2 more item checks down there and leads to a teleport. So since there was that sequence break, Skula behind the that they used or Podolak used, I think anyway.
I think both runners
somebody used Man-Eater Soul to get to early on in the study. Podolak can certainly take the more efficient exit there.
Looks like he's getting a sword upgrade here.
Yeah, Durandal, that's definitely an upgrade.
Upgrade in speed, damage, or both?
I guess everything but range, I would say, because the katana has that arc swing to it, so you can hit stuff overhead easier. Durandal, I believe, does more damage. I guess their convenience is about similar.
Save splitting before the death fight.
Jupiter heading up to inner quarters. Although Jupiter could actually go up to top floor. Definitely something that I could see him doing. It would definitely be very dangerous at this point due to lack of weapons and armor, but he's got giant bat. He can kind of scrape his way over things and dodge stuff. He's definitely capable of handling himself there. And we see Podolak fighting death.
Alright, death's out of phase 1, he's in phase 2.
So one thing you see a lot of runners do is they don't go all the way up to death. A lot of people will go halfway through Clock Tower and take that underwater bailout, because It's you can get to the top of Clock Tower from the top floor, but it has to be unlocked in that direction. So if you can go up to the top floor, do your top floor checks, then come across the Clock Tower and go down it. And not have to backtrack all the way out. Ooh. Okay, so that's the slide. Okay, so now we kind of know some more of the intent of logic here. Slide was what unlocked Gula.
It looks like Jupiter picked up the Galamoth ability soul.
Yeah, so I would expect to see him heading into inner quarters sometime shortly after this.
So I imagine, yeah, the giant bat soul was behind.
Giant bat was underwater, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was in the, okay, that really long room right when you come down from the left entrance to reservoirs.
Tim Podolak's gonna go all the way down until he finds the warp room in the clock tower before he makes his next move.
So, this is the interesting check for Podolak here. These are down here. This first one is simply kind of waterlocked after, you know, the abilities that you needed to get into here. But the second one is logically slide blocked as well. So if you, so it does have a good chance of having some sort of progression past it.
Yeah, in the pendulum room, it looked like Podolak found a gram.
Yeah, I think that's probably a downgrade from what he's from the with the Durandal. Oh, and a Calidbog for Jupiter picked up on the top floor. It's a good weapon for not a great like top tier weapon, but a pretty solid later game.
I think he picked it up from the vanilla spot for it too.
And just a melon for Podolak in that bottom clock tower check.
Now, Podolak going through the spike room a second time. And, how many more checks does Jupiter have for the top floor, or is he just gonna warp out and head to whoever's next?
Just the one that he's headed to right here, which is some sort of food item. So I would expect to see him teleporting back down to inner quarters, because that's where the room that is unlocked by Galamoth is. Okay, no, that's not the case. He's going back up. So maybe he's going to do those. This is dangerous. He's taking a lot of damage here.
Yeah, he's able to get out of there. About 110 HP.
Maybe he's going to go do the clock tower check first. Catch up with what Podolak was doing over there.
A little bit of trouble with that jump because he's out of mana there. Doesn't want to go to his items. Save his items for later, so he's going to save before he goes to the next stop.
Very nicely done dodging that. Podolak making some good use of kicker going through here. Looks like Podolak is going up into Dance Hall.
So yeah, with Jupiter going into Clock Tower, he should find the Durandal and also the slide ability soul after defeating Death. I'm gonna check Death first.
And notice that Jupiter did not save before Death. He easily could go just resetting back to his previous save.
He's not losing much time. He's not losing much.
Jupiter does just play pretty minimalistically at times. Go into checks like this, you know, even though he gains several levels from the experience points on this, he's often willing to just throw that away to get back out of there quickly if there's nothing he wants. We're seeing attic of Dance Hall being checked by Podolak.
See what items we get on this screen. So our required blue soul is in the dance hall. Where's the enemy? Alright, so he picked up a bone pillar soul from the pedestal. See if he farms these specific enemies for the soul that he needs. Picks up a gladius.
Okay, so Jupiter picks up Slide here. I was speculating that, he might reset, and technically Slide does not actually help him at all at this point, because anywhere that Slide lets him get into, he already has Giant Bat and can get into there as well.
Yeah, he took a refill after fighting death.
But yeah, he does seem to be holding on to that, and I guess it makes sense as he just wants to route down through Clock Tower anyway. He's not just doing a one-off check and bailing to go somewhere else. Okay, so there is a second copy of Skula in this randomizer. There are 2 copies of Skula, such that either of them you can get to at the same point. In this case, Slide locked in Dance Hall and Slide locked in Study. So, you could go either direction here, and under the same logical conditions, you could pick up either. But that doesn't help Podolak here because he already picked up Skula in Study.
It looks like Jupiter's finishing up these clock tower checks. Not much to do here, so we'll check the pendulum room and then a couple other spots. Looks like Podolak's heading for the Golem boss fight in the dance hall after picking up a Lilith soul. Interesting what drops. It'll be interesting to see what drops back there.
So we could be seeing a reset out of Podolak after this fight as well, noticing that he took the refill in the save room, but didn't actually save there. Because it is kind of a long way to go, climbing back up out of there. If there isn't much of anything there, it's just a pudding.
Looks like Jupiter is going to head to Floating Garden. Interesting to see what he finds here. There's plenty of items, obviously, in each screen. Looks like he's got a blue soul. That is the Devil soul. So it looks like he's got... He's got a rush... Devil was a rush soul, right?
Yeah, he's got Devil's a rush soul. I believe he's got Manticore, which is also a rush soul. At this point, I mean, we could easily be seeing some inner quarters from both of them about the same time. Looks like Podolak is headed this way. He can use Kicker to sequence break into the ceiling, which is like about gonna happen because that's not in logic. And it's just a strawberry. But yeah, with having found Galamoth, I would expect that Jupiter would be looking to go to inner quarters sooner rather than later as well.
Alright, looks like Podolak is in the inner quarters. Alright, let's see what this blue Billy Soul is. The Katu Plebis.
I think
that was one of the three.
Dracula one. Yeah. Ooh, that is nice for Podolak. There's a Vijaya down there. Nice fairly strong multi-hit sword. Doesn't ground block.
And it being a light sword, it obviously has a very short recovery. Although the runners get around it by jumping with the jump slashing method.
So this should be a pretty fast hit hunter fight from Podolak. Between Rush Souls, or there we go with Devil, that's like half the health right off that first rush. Actually, probably more than half of that first phase right there. Yeah, about 2/3 of the health of that phase off of one rush as well. And I think Jupiter is going over to go pick up that locked book before he heads up to his quarters.
Alright, Winged Skeleton. Which is the soul you start with in the beginning of the game, I believe. In the vanilla
Yes,
game.
in vanilla. And the old randomizer was always did not randomize that.
Alright. Looks like Podolak is checking the Undine spot. See what's there. Very long room, so he doesn't like what he sees, he can always just use sleep function to get out of there quickly.
Flesh Golem for book 3, Jupiter found. Oh, and he resets back out. Okay, he's going down, I guess. I would have thought he would be more interested in going to Galamoth and quarters, but does not seem to be the case.
Alright, looks like he's heading into the underground reservoir area.
Just milking.
Looks like that
forward
was...
up the top.
Alright. Podolak is whipping back in, warping back to the Castlevania, the Castle Corner. Right. Red pedestal in the reservoir yielding a waiter skeleton soul.
And another copy of Devil Jupiter finds.
Yeah. Looks like Podolak is looking to buy something at the shop. He's selling some of his extraneous items. We'll see what he gets for the result. He has 50,000 gold.
Yeah, there's definitely some decent stuff there between the Death's Robe, Balmung, a couple choices of healing. Actually, quite a lot of healing. Milk pudding, grapes, something else, I think. Okay, so last Eastern Reservoir check for Jupiter. And then we may see a reset out of here. Yep, just a potato pancake. I'm not sure if that sword Jupiter is using was picked up there or not.
We picked that one up pretty early in the run, so I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, that was that, like, orangish katana type. Okay, he's got that still. Looks like he is also going for a shopping trip. Or just using the teleport, I can't tell.
We'll find out.
Podolak also heading to reservoirs now.
Yeah, he's going for the teleporter.
Okay, so here's the inner quarters check for Jupiter. I don't believe Podolak has been there yet.
I think he did a couple rooms in the inner quarters, but that, including the boss, but that's about it.
Podolak taking a nasty fall off the imp.
Yeah, imps aren't fun to deal with.
Alright, because Podolak doesn't have any means of fly yet. I'd forgotten that.
Yeah.
Jupiter went down there early and scraped up that giant bat.
Alright, looks like Jupiter's going to check the Undine spot. There wasn't anything there when Podolak checked, but doesn't know that yet, so it's gonna check the 2 items, find nothing, and then use save and quit function out of this room.
Just a great sword at the bottom. I always get the pictures for that mixed up with the Durandal. Don't know how to tell which is which.
Alright.
We should have another really fast headhunter fight going down here.
Yeah. You can see he's getting multiple hits per slash.
Multi-hit 55 damage or 53 or something. I'm surprised Jupiter isn't busting out a Rush Soul though. Got both Manticore and Devil there. I would expect to see that Manticore.
His mana bar is pretty low, and I think he's saving.
That is a good point because he's
saving his resources for later.
Giant bat for movement purposes.
Especially since there aren't any MP healing items. Podolak picking up the cuddle before the save and quit in the reservoir.
Alright, so this is the first check to Galamoth Chronomage area here, I believe.
If there's anything here.
Osmophone is good weapon for not.
And I think he also got the Elfin Robe as the other item.
Yeah, he could easily have better armor than that at this point, though. Osmophone is really good for. It's got such a large hit area and is a fast weapon, so it's really useful for when you're running through areas and you want to clear stuff out easily. He's skipping the Vijaya.
And he's got his first soul, Dracula's soul, as well. I think he checked that thing so faster than neither of us could pick up initially, so... He knows which soul he's looking for.
Well, they're both still missing a book at this point.
A quick check of that hidden room before exiting out.
So Podolak not going down to the rest of reservoirs yet. Not sure where he plans on going from this point if he's not continuing underwater. Unless he's just going across the top, you know, taking the health refill at one of the save points and then going down the left side closer to the castle entrance to get down there. Oh, is this where... Was Kicker up top here? No, okay. Bone Pillar, okay. For some reason,
he did. So yeah, it looks like Jupiter got the a blue soul he didn't need, so he just save split, head back to where he last saved, and move on back down towards the rock golem.
Okay, so I was just thinking about the kicker. Like, we're seeing Podolak run around with kicker faster than you normally be able to walk, and it seems Jupiter doesn't have that yet. I was kind of speculating about, was it down here? Because I don't remember where Podolak picked that up from.
Alright, so Podolak picking up a Manticore Soul there.
So at this point, like, everything that's not flying locked is pretty much been checked for Podolak. So, although he could pick up that giant bat and then proceed to head up the top floor, we easily could see Podolak going down further, heading towards Arena or Cemetery.
Alright, there's the giant bat. Jupiter also safe split the bot. Sorry, I might be seeing something. But they're dealing with the big golem boss. He quit out of there and was checking the other part of the dance hall.
Yep, Jupiter's just resetting out of there. Doesn't care about keeping anything. So we easily could see a forbidden area check from Podolak if he wants to go across.
Yeah. So if you're Jupiter, which area would you check next? Looks like he's heading for Reservoir. Maybe.
Probably. I mean, it's a hard call between Forbidden and Arena.
Looks like he's heading towards Arena. There's some direction he's going right now. Arena definitely has a lot of items. Littered all over through the map.
Yep, just going straight across there. Got one more check down, bottom of reservoirs, and then... So Podolak looks like he's going for these top checks near the forbidden entrance. Running an MP though. Okay, he's got enough.
Yeah, both runners have plenty of MP items. Alright.
Okay, so it's interesting.
Yeah, Jupiter did not pick up the backdash soul. Wait,
yeah, so I was wondering whether Jupiter went in there before, but it seems that Jupiter did not, because we would have been seeing him backdashing all over the place if he had that.
Looks like we got a red soul here. That is Ripper. Or as I like to call him, upgraded Fleeman.
So I guess the nice thing about doing Arena here rather than Cemetery is we know that Flight was waterlocked. So so when Flight came into Logic, areas that were Flight locked are more likely to be those next locations, and we already know that there wasn't a whole lot up on the top floor in regards to that. And Arena top area is Flight locked, whereas I don't think much else down underwater is.
So it looks like Podolak's heading back for Clock Tower. I imagine he's going back to the Castle Corridor through the Clock Tower. Since that's where it leads out to.
So we do see a book 1 there, but that's the same one that was a dupe near the beginning that was giant batlock, right? Or
yeah.
Jupiter forget that you found that?
Yep. Alright.
And we see Podolak like picking up the same item there too, right? He just came back for that as well.
You see
Oh,
which
no.
soul was on the Ancient Book 1? Waiter Skeleton.
Okay, so I'm mistaken. That's not the one that was at the early on. So now he knows all three now.
Did you catch to see what the Ancient Book 3 soul was?
No, I did not. So this is huge for Jupiter here because Podolak still has no idea what the red soul is that he needs, and I do not know whether Jupiter has what he needs or not, but he at least knows what he needs.
Yeah, it looks like he's heading back. I think he might take a quick shopping trip first before taking on Graham. So I believe he might have all 3 souls that he needs.
And I just find this interesting that Podolak found the second copy of Gravekeeper, and Jupiter does not have Gravekeeper. In both cases, it was flight locked. It was there's 2 copies of it, so it was top of Chapel, flight locked, and near the entrance to Forbidden, which is flight locked underwater.
Alright, so looks like Jupiter is heading forward towards wherever checks he needs to. I don't think he has 3rd soul then, because otherwise he'd be going straight to the top floor.
Yes, I did not catch what that book said. However, considering he's just heading out here and he's not going up to the teleport, maybe he's looking to farm it off of something.
Either farm it or find the pedestal that's on. So kind of which areas does he have left to check? Obviously he still has the underground cemetery to check.
Yes, the cemetery would require him to fight Legion, and he's got a lot of checks in Arena that he has not done yet. Some of them being a little slow. To get those trial rooms, like with the okay, he's heading back to Eastern. He was here earlier, right? So I'm guessing he knows he got it earlier, but then reset out of it, and he's just going back to pick it up.
Yeah, that's definitely a possibility.
Pick up red. That's it, isn't it?
Yep. It looks like Podolak picked up an armor upgrade in the top floor. Don't know if he has all 3 souls, but it's obviously a race to see. If he heads straight for Graham, then obviously he has all 3 souls. Gonna pick up the Galamoth.
Yeah, I didn't realize that Podolak didn't have Galamoth, so that explains why he has not checked that. I would expect, however, now that he has that, there's a very good chance he is going to head back to Inner Quarters to go check that out, which is, unfortunately for him, not going to be useful.
I forget, does Podolak have all 3 books?
He has 2 of the 3 books. He does not know about Waiter Skeleton. He does have the Waiter Skeleton soul, I believe, because he went to Eastern. I don't think he reset out of it.
Alright.
But I don't really expect that we would see Podolak guessing.
Is there a typical number of souls that are put out throughout the game in each randomizer seed? It could be possibly that he's already checked all of them and knows that he's got the right soul.
On this, there are 5 decoys of each type. So if he had all of the red souls and knew which ones were in candles, it would be a 1 in 6 shot for each attempt.
It looks like Podolak is heading... Or he's clearing the top tower. There's the Yatsuna.
I suspect we're just going to see him go straight down to the teleport after he finishes checking these out.
Yeah, he's going to get the...
He picks up the Assalon here. He's got one more in the upper left of this giant room, and then he's got one more down behind the Iron Golem.
Alright, Jupiter starting the Graham Jones fight. Phase 1 Graham acts pretty much the same as Dracula. Just teleports around the room and just shoots dark fireballs at you. Your typical Phase 1 Drac fight. Out of every Castlevania. Now he's in Phase 2. Alright. Sword 3.
Meanwhile, Podolak heading back down to that teleport. Expecting to see some more underwater areas.
Looks like our required yellow soul was the flesh golem soul.
Okay, so Podolak is going for that Chrono Mage area, trying to use that Galamoth soul, which didn't actually have anything, but he doesn't know that yet, and it's generally a pretty good play when you pick up progression that unlocks other areas.
Alright, Jupiter just finished off Graham.
Two really bad souls behind Graham. Get Basilisk, which is just one of the most hated things for when people are forced to equip it for Graham fight, and then a small luck boost, and when with luck being considered just about worthless.
So yeah, so coming up next is for Jupiter is going to be the Julius fight. He's got the Khalid Bog, which is the go-to sword for the best sword to use against Julius, basically.
Well, I mean, it's definitely a really good one for Julius. Like you can easily use like a Claim or Balmung or several other ones. Would be very good as well. We're going to see some rushing, of course, too, I would assume.
Pretty much using the clock tower to get to the floating garden. That's a fast... Can't remember. That's the fastest route from top floor, right?
I believe so. Generally what I see people do, I've never really tried to verify that, though.
So I believe Podolak needs to head for the arena in order to find that third book, but he does have... Did he ever pick up the Flesh Golem Soul in this run?
I don't remember where it is, so I can't say. Also, it is plausible there could be another copy of that book somewhere down there. As the first one was water and Malthus block, basically. No flight required. The same conditions apply in Cemetery, so it is entirely possible if he chose Cemetery instead of Arena, he could come up with another copy of that.
Yeah, it looks like he's heading for Arena. That's where the first book was for the Red Soul.
Meanwhile, really nice Julius fight going on with Jupiter. Jupiter taking no hits and just really dishing it out.
Alright, Podolak has entered the arena.
So hopefully Podolak thinks to check up there before going down and doing some of those slower checks. If he goes up at all, he'll see it. Is he really going back just for the heal? Because there's so many, there's like a whole buffet there that could have or did buy from the shop.
Getting some of that Heart of Fire action. That plays when you fight Julius. It's a remix of the fifth level, the soundtrack of the 5th level in Castlevania 1, which was also part of this SpeedGaming live tournament.
Looks like Podolak is going to go straight for these, climbing up there for these checks.
Alright, so Jupiter is done with Julius. Now he's inside the chaotic realm. All he has to do is work his way up towards the final boss.
So Podolak has got his book 1 and is probably in go mode at this point. I assume he's got the souls.
Yeah. It's on to Graham. He'll head for the teleport and head for the top floor.
Yeah, unfortunately for Podolak, though, he really needs Jupiter to screw up in order to stand a chance here. Because this is a pretty significant lead, with Jupiter having both Graham and Julius down already. That Archdemon playing a bit of a blocker there. So Podolak heading up for Graham. He just needs to clear a couple runes and then get your typical Dracula-esque fight. So I'm not quite sure what Jupiter's planning on using as a weapon here. He's been using the Calidbog, I believe is Dark Element, so it's not very effective against Chaos.
Yeah, I imagine he'll use either some sort of katana-like weapon for Chaos.
Well, they definitely don't have any, like, top-tier weapons here.
I imagine they're used to having to do this fight without top-tier weapons, so...
Oh, yeah, certainly. It just takes a bit longer.
Alright, looks like Podolak is in phase 2. Jupiter saving before Chaos.
Always a good choice, because this is a very dangerous fight.
Yeah.
Especially if this is level 14 Jupiter's at right now.
Yeah, dying to Chaos gives you a different ending in the original game.
Okay, so you're right about he is using one of the katana variants.
I think he's using Yatasuna in this case. Give himself pretty good damage.
Well, certainly for phase 1 anyway, but usually these multi-hit ones aren't too good for the core. It's got high defense. You're generally better off doing, you know, fewer hits but stronger.
So we can get a damageless phase 1 here, which he does.
Very nice.
Podolak on phase 3. The Graham fight.
Alright, so Podolak's got Graham down. heading to Julius any time now. He gets to pick up his collection of some of the worst souls in the game.
Alright, looks like Jupiter's got the lower left eye down. Dodge the attacks from the core, a bone dragon flying around you, and also other
Ooh, that was a nice
other hazards in this map.
I guess there was not a complete dodge there, but had that sliding just out of the way in time of that giant green ball, but then did end up taking damage off the eye.
Alright. Gotta be a little bit careful. Like using rush attacks on the core.
Using the Ossiphone. Interesting choice. I was wondering if he was going to go for Athlon for a moment, but I then realized he doesn't have backdash.
So yeah, with each eye he takes out, the core obviously has less defense. This almost becomes a fight of endurance.
Yeah, because it kind of seems like the only really good option Jupiter has for attacking here is those rush souls. If he gets all the eyes down, maybe he can deal some decent damage with one of those weapons anyway, but
yeah, you can see with the rush soul he did 15 hit points more damage per hit with 3 eyes out as opposed to 2. Don't know if he still has his mana prism or not.
if he does, you know, it'd be a safe assumption he's saving it for later. He doesn't have any good MP regen. He's got no rune ring, no wooden golem soul.
Yeah, this would be the time to save it for. His weapon's only doing 1 damage to the core per hit. Alright, all 4 eyes are down.
And that, oh, so we're now doing 2 damage per hit.
Gotta be a little bit careful. Alright, switching to the Yatsutsuna, which is doing...
Couple hits of 3 damage per hit. I mean...
Now he's switching to that.
There we go. Yeah, that's some decent damage. Definitely
Better
not...
do 1 hit of 36 and about 3 hits of 3.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's definitely lacking maneuverability though, because if that swing is not done by the time you land, he's locked into place for the remainder of that swing.
Let's say those greatswords have a much bigger recovery. As a result. Alright. Jupiter takes down Chaos. And will win the RSR Randomizer tournament here on SpeedGaming Live.
No, that's actually not the end of that, because that's Podolak's first loss, and this is double elimination.
Alright. So we're down to... So with the double elimination, that means Podolak does have a game to give.
So Podolak has forfeited this round.
Yeah, that was a very interesting scene, I would say.
Yeah, we usually get a little better equipment than that. I think a significant percent of these usually end up having a rune ring, or usually get something a little better to fight with than and
think the
Jupiter
scene
didn't
did
pick
have
up
a...
backdash. That was just pretty interesting as well. You get two different locations that backdash is in. You didn't manage to scrape up either of them.
Alright. Alright, so since this is a double elimination bracket, there will be a second match to see if Jupiter can, with the winner of the second race being the ultimate winner of this tournament, as I erroneously misstated earlier.
So yeah, the first match, first time these two were against each other. Podolak won the first time, so Jupiter went down to the loser's bracket and then won that to bring us this face-off again against them. So now they have each won once, and we are going to the very finals.
Yeah, this is where it'll be decided. Interesting to see if there's a little bit more of a friendlier scene in the next upcoming race.
Also, neither of these runners found Hippogriff.
Possible that soul was in the underground cemetery.
Yeah, that's definitely plausible. Because, especially since Giant Bat was, waterlocked. So I would expect, Hippogriff to also be waterlocked somewhere. Also could have been something weird like, slide blocked an arena, possibly. I'm not sure. I'm not quite sure exactly what intent and logic was for a few of those checks.
Alright. Just getting ready for this next upcoming race. Since this is double elimination, Jupiter does have to win 2 matches against Podolak in order to win the tournament. Because he won the first match, this is pretty much a sudden death scene.
Okay, I see on Discord, Jupiter was asking for a 5-minute break before this next one starts. Okay, so a new seed has been rolled.
Alright, looks like the next race is about to start. So they've readied up in the race room. We should be ready to go in the feed pretty soon.
There we go. We see Podolak has now loaded the new seed. Still waiting on Jupiter here.
Gotta be careful. If he uses the same name, that invites bad luck.
Alright, so here we go. So we get, I don't remember what the name of it is, but that grenade attack.
Zombie Officer, I believe, is the soul.
Yes, that could be it. Podolak spamming some of those around to kill the zombies after he's passed by them. Scraping up a couple extra experience. No progression souls in the very first room here with the 3 checks, so looks like they're going to be heading down to the reservoirs.
Get to see what's down here. Looks like that was a map. It's like, I don't think these guys need a map to navigate around the castle.
Oh yeah, certainly. Those maps, unlike the most item placements, which are weighted, so you tend to get better stuff in harder areas, these maps are just complete random for the purposes of just adding some variance and things.
Looks like we got a flying armor soul here. So both runners gonna head straight back up to the castle corridor. And likely head towards Creaking Skull. Or it's also possible they could just skip that fight altogether.
No, I don't think there's any... Well, unless you had a Gula first sort of situation, I don't think... Or actually, I mean, if you had Fly as your first item, in which case you could just head straight up to the dance hall. You're not really gonna be able to skip Creaking Skull. Both of these runners knock it down pretty quickly, though. Jupiter skipping that check over near the garden's entrance, whereas Podolak is heading over there and finding a coin and probably something else that's not that good. Just these very early checks tend to be absolutely horrible due to the waiting.
Looks like he got money, a big pile of money right there.
So Jupiter finds that soul that, okay, really early Black Panther.
Alright, this is where the fun begins.
Yeah, the Jupiter found that soul that makes the shop prices a lot cheaper as well.
Alright, we got an ability soul, Malthus.
There's the double jump. That's some really fast progression there. Jupiter could, if he wants to, well, okay.
Black Panther, Malthus, and Skula on back-to-back soul checks. I don't think you can stage that one any better.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that Malthus was in logic or not. Because with flying armor, just flying armor alone, that would not be in logic to jump across that gap. It's certainly a lot easier with Panther as you're so much faster, but I'm not quite sure what the logic says on that.
Yeah, did Jupiter pick up that soul that allows buying at the shop prices to be a little bit easier?
Yes, Jupiter got that.
Alright, so they should both have it. There's a book.
So Podolak did not do that check on the right side before going up here, so Podolak got a nice damage boost off the axe armor, but he's definitely losing time as he's not going to get Panther until he goes back down. So let's see where Jupiter goes here, because Jupiter easily could just be heading underwater right now, or going to quarters.
Go back to the inner quarters. And he's headed for top floor.
Well, he can't get to top floor yet. He doesn't have any means of flying. Yeah. So just kind of cutting over there, through there. Maybe he's going through, like, into Manticore sort of area, but then bailing out from there.
And just as a reminder, if you're interested in watching the combo rando Super Metroid and Link to the Past, that will be on SpeedGaming 3 in about 10 minutes. If you want to check this race and that race out. I believe every tournament is in their final match. Then we got another ability soul.
Slide. So now, if Jupiter did want to continue. Well, yeah, because he unlocked that teleport over there. If he wanted to continue through quarters into dance hall, he now has the means to actually go between the two instead of clearing one out and then like backtracking out of the area.
Podolak is just one room behind Jupiter right now. They're both entering the chapel area.
Yeah, this is a big contrast from our last seed here. Last seed, there didn't seem to be Panther. They went all the way to study before picking up Malthus, and in here they're just flying before they got out of the inner corridor.
Got Cataphlebus and Bomber Armor as the two pedestal souls in that room.
I've
yellow
seen
one here.
Podolak make some really good use of that bomb armor. But in this, I mean, they're flying through areas so fast, probably wouldn't even detonate before they're leaving the area.
Alright, both runners heading into the Manticore fight. Of course, both of them easily taking out Manticore. Podolak picks up the Black Cloak.
Ooh, and Jupiter pulling that book too, which is technically flight locked.
Yeah, and he revealed the Big Golem Soul, which he actually picked up on the room before the Manticore fight.
Yeah, that was a random enemy drop though, right? That wasn't a Soul Canister.
Yep, that was an enemy drop.
So that could be huge. If they don't run into that immediately and it ends up being somewhere locked away in a corner.
Here we got Red Soul. Demon Lord.
That's pretty good damage, I think. Okay, like... here's the bailout. They're going for elsewhere. So I mean, there's three different things they could be doing here. They could either head down underwater, they could be going up for floating gardens and doing the bailout into through the bottom of Clock Tower, or they could be doing that dance hall inner quarters loop there.
Looks like Jupiter is going for the reservoir strat routing here.
And Podolak's about to find his book too as well.
Yeah, we'll see a big Golem Soul somewhere later in this run.
Okay, so Jupiter has found Gravekeeper. Which is not going to speed up his movement for now because he's got Panther, but that will certainly make the fights a lot more pleasant if he's got a large weapon that doesn't cancel when you land. Podolak going through the more vanilla route into study.
Alright, did you see what Jupiter just picked up?
Great armor.
So it looks like Podolak is going through the study area. While Jupiter clears out reservoir.
I think there's a pretty good chance there is going to be some progression that Podolak is going to find in the backdash room. Because Jupiter went underwater, and he found backdash. And the only thing that backdash puts into logic is the backdash room, which Podolak is approaching and can sequence break into. So there is a pretty good chance that the progression item after backdash was placed will be in there.
Alright, I think Jupiter's heading for Arena. Possibly, or underground.
Arena would be more likely. People don't tend to go for Cemetery too early. So Kicker was slide locked down in study.
Yeah, I think he already has this. Did you pick up the slide soul yet?
I think so.
Yeah. Looks like Podolak picking up the fish head soul there from the pedestal.
So Kicker is technically useful to Podolak as they don't have fly. There are a couple of sequence breaks they can do with Kicker. They would normally be slide locked locations. And Jupiter is going cemetery. Or maybe it's just using the save room. That's plausible too. Because this Jupiter didn't go all the way through study, he doesn't have access to the shop, which means he can't go buy a buffet. And Devil was behind Great Armor, where the shopkeeper was. So if that is the intended rush progression, and there aren't any other rush souls laying around, that going through study may be required to get to Forbidden Area.
Alright, Jupiter entering the arena.
In which case they might not be able to backdoor into study through the reservoirs.
Gonna pick up some coffee there.
I mean, definitely, with having not probably not found that much at this point, and being a really dangerous area at a low level.
Right, he's gonna stay before the elevator.
But yes, this is a sequence break also that Jupiter's doing. This is considered flight locked, getting above that entrance in, well, what's now the floor, but was the ceiling before. As Black Panther kind of lets you slide up corners a little bit at times. Did you see what Jupiter just picked up there?
It was some sort of ring, I believe. Alright, there's the third book. So it's in the arena.
So we got a book in that spot 2 seeds in a row. Alright, so Podolak picked up a Gravekeeper that was double jump and float locked, essentially. So they both have Gravekeeper at this point. So this is like very different strategies from both runners here. Podolak has just been going completely vanilla route this seed, going throughout the study. I think going for dance hall is what is the standard location for intended gameplay, whereas Jupiter has just slammed into the third to last area of the game very quickly.
Right. Didn't find anything after that room, so he's just gonna reset. Check the
The Podolak grabs Mimic, so that can get him a lot of extra cash as he takes damage. So especially with the with Tsukunoko Soul, which they found, that could really help them buy expensive gear if they wanted to, as they can both get a bunch of extra gold as they take damage, and then proceed to have lower shop prices as well.
Alright. Jupiter starting the Valor fight.
And is really under-equipped for this. I mean, that Demon Lord's doing 50, which is nice, but he can't keep spamming that. It's too much MP requirement. And only 16 damage hit off that sword.
Yeah, and each Demon Lord usage drains about half his mana bar.
Jupiter is certainly good at this fight. He does this when doing glitched speed runs of the vanilla game. Ends up out of bounds warping down to this area. It needs to take out Valor at very low level in order to get the giant bat.
Yeah, the key is avoiding his Valor's hands, which he's doing an expert job at.
But it's just incredibly slow when you're only doing this much damage, which could be a bit of a setback.
Podolak is starting the big golem fight.
This is gonna be a real fast fight with running through there with Devil. Podolak taking a lot of damage per hit though.
Jupiter is on phase 2. Doing a little bit more damage this time around.
Yeah, this eye's got a lot lower defense than the other one has.
Alright, switching the katana to do a little bit more damage. On a little more DPS there. You can get 3 hits with the katana.
It's also easier to hit with there. Just do that wide arc instead of just flashing out forward.
Yeah, that was a very clean, very clean fight there, Valor fight from Jupiter. I don't think he took a single hit. They're in the D-pad room.
So definitely an interesting choice to be doing some of these, because these are very slow checks that Jupiter's doing.
Simon says, but with the D-pad on your controller. Imagine trying to do this on a GameCube controller.
And just some armor out of Jupiter is not coming up with anything decent down here. And Podolak is about to go into Headhunter fight. Getting that rush soul set up. Doing like 2/3 the health of that phase just off of one rush through. Okay, so Jupiter's gonna grab the book here, so we're gonna get some information.
Dead Warrior.
Dead Warrior.
I don't think he has that soul yet. I don't think either runner has picked it up yet.
Did you catch the other monster name that's in parentheses?
I think it's a giant worm.
Okay, that's kind of what I was thinking. I caught the beginning of that, the first, like the giant part, but it's not a place I would want to farm in particular. The drop rates for monsters that drop Dracula required souls are changed, so they are much easier to farm if you wanted to do so. But giant worm, I believe, is one of the worst drop rates, one of those souls around. Vanilla, it's something like about a 1 in 210 shot or something like that, it actually dropping. With the adjustments, it's somewhere in like the 1 in 30 to 1 in 35 range or something, so if variance is nice to you, it might not be too bad, but it could be bad if your luck is not too hot.
Alright, Podolak picked up the Headhunter's soul in the Undine rune, just as Jupiter just did right there.
So we'll likely be seeing another very fast Headhunter fight here.
Nice.
Although not using the Rush Soul. I think he has it.
I'm not sure he even has one at this point.
Yeah, you're right, he might not.
But that Milliken sword is outputting 59 damage per hit, and it's a very fast sword, so...
Yeah, 59 per hit, that's something like about, what is it, only 15 hits or something per phase. So I'm thinking it's like 750 health per phase or something like that. Oh, it's okay. Demon Lord. Okay.
Alright, picked up the giant ghost soul, but he's already got the necessary blue. Jupiter already has the necessary blue soul to get the good ending.
So Podolak's doing some shopping here. See what they got. Looks like there were 2 different healing items in stock. He saw the Burt Gang. Is he going for that?
Undine is Galmoth blocked. So Galmoth is required in order to do this scene.
Did you catch where Galmoth was?
No.
Yeah,
Probably was one of the early... Might have been the reservoir. It was one of the earlier ability souls.
We didn't see Podolak pick it up, so I don't think Podolak has that, as he would have gone into there when after Headhunter, or before Headhunter rather, as he came from Dance Hall, I think.
Well, let's see. It could have been the underground reservoir, possibly the arena area.
Alright, so Podolak is in Flying Gardens. I do not believe we've seen any Flying Gardens yet.
Nope.
And considering we still have not seen any form of light, this could be where it is.
So yeah, Jupiter rechecking that Yellow Souls didn't get the one he wanted. They're just gonna reset and head for Big Golem.
Jupiter might not head to Big Golem.
Definitely didn't.
It's one of those checks which is really popular to skip because both of the paths you can take from dropping down the floor there are just very long corridors. So people often, it is somewhat popular to just skip those checks and backtrack to them later if necessary.
Alright, we got Blue Soul here. Bone Pillar. Okay.
Look at that, Jupiter's going for a Merman room now that he's got Undyne.
And it's just the mind up, so he's just gonna reset.
That would be interesting though if Flight was down there. Oh, there we go. Podolak, giant bat in Clock Tower.
The obligatory clock tower in Castlevania. So it looks like there were 2 Gravekeeper souls in this scene.
Yes, Gravekeeper always gets two copies in this randomizer, as well as Skula, and Black Panther when it exists, which it doesn't always. This is intentional to try to spread things out in regards to the runners have multiple different options to get stuff in, to avoid the situation of multiple different areas come either into logic or accessible, and somebody chooses one, somebody chooses the other, and somebody gets a huge start over the other person.
Alright, looks like Podolak is starting the death fight. Jupiter just picked up a steel plate.
So, although Giant Bat was in Clock Tower, we have not seen Hippogriff yet, and Giant Bat and Hippogriff are kind of considered each other's dupes in regards to this. So, Hippogriff will not be flight locked, or locked by anything from Giant Bat. If Giant Bat is in logic, Hippogriff is also in logic.
It looks like Jupiter picking up the super potion. Death is dead. Let's get to see what's behind Death. Death dropping a gladiator soul. Looks like just an axe item. There's the giant worm, and he gets the drop.
On the first try. That's incredibly lucky.
Yeah. You said it was 1 in 210, right?
In the vanilla game, it'd be 1 in 210. About this randomizer changes the drop rates for souls that are direct souls. So in the case of giant worm, it's somewhere in the low 1 out of low 30s, which is not necessarily horrible if statistics goes your way, but
still pretty low odds on a first drop, though.
oh, certainly. It's like a 3%, basically.
It's like the clock tower weapon in the pendulum room is a Yatasuna. So Jupiter's only just 1 soul away from being able to fight Graham. We'll need to find the book 1. Since he already has 2 of the 3 required. Yeah.
Jupiter's gonna find flight soon going up through here. Unless he just bails out, expecting to come back here later. Because, I mean, that's a valid option as well. You go up through, you clear out the floating gardens, you go into clock tower, you take the bottom exit out, and you expect to more efficiently route the death fight and more efficiently later on coming in from the top floor.
Yeah, but I'd say considering that considering the only areas he hasn't checked are floating gardens and clock tower, I assume he's gonna head for the clock tower.
Well, it could be cemetery as well. Cemetery having hippogriff. We know it's not flight locked, and he's running out of non-flight locked places.
All right, got the Graham. I wonder if we'll see him use Graham against Graham. That'd be something to see. All right, it's in the clock tower.
Did we see Podolak do the water lock checks in clock tower?
I believe he picked up a Yatsuna from the pendulum room, but I didn't see the other ones.
Right. Okay, I remember that now.
We'll get a pretty good idea pretty soon. It looks like Jupiter's checking the water checks first.
Podolak going back to inner quarters. I'm guessing he's going up top floor.
They're heading for Spike Room. That looks... Got the blocking mail. I assume that's a better armor upgrade since you picked it up and equipped it.
Oh yeah, blocking mail is considered one of the best armor items. It doesn't have the best defense, but it causes a lot of enemy attacks to just miss you and do nothing. So Podolak going through this top floor, nothing great yet. He's found like Lilith Soul and a ninja suit. See the blocking armor, he's got it on right there too because he saw him block as he ran through something.
I believe he's heading for the warp. As we know, death didn't really yield anything. Alright, I believe he's headed for the dance hall, and Podolak picks up his big golem soul. So that's where, so we can find out where that was. And there's book 3.
They're picking up a book flight lock near the beginning.
Fishhead. I believe he actually has all the souls. Oh wait. Or was it Podolak that picked up the fish head? I don't remember.
I don't remember either.
It looks like Jupiter is headed for top floor.
Yep, he's got his giant bat. If you're correct about him having all 3 souls, that's go mode. Is he gonna do these checks, though?
Well, if he's in goal mode, he doesn't have to do the checks. It's the little soul.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect him to do these checks if he was actually in go mode, though. I mean, his equipment might not be too great, though. I mean, what's he got at this point?
Definitely have to check
I mean,
next time.
blocking mail's good, but like, was there Burt Gang or something? Did he pick that up, or was that Podolak?
I think that was Podolak that picked it up.
Yeah, that was top floor, I think.
Fishhead's soul is somewhere in this game, but it's definitely not top floor. Right. Dead Warrior, so that's where the Dead Warrior soul pickup would have been.
Yeah, so the getting the drop on that didn't really save him time. That blocking mail just let him run right through the
One final check. Blue soul, big golem. You already picked that up as a drop.
So Podolak picking up the Gungener, that can be pretty useful. Pretty powerful as a triplet. Oh, it's Levitin. That's a nice find.
Yeah, that Valkyrie got a nice shot in there.
Oh, definitely. That's a long fall.
The upgraded Valkyrie. Looks like yeah, it looked like he picked up Satan's ring from the Hippogriff spot.
Yeah, that's a pretty good accessory for if you don't have a rune ring. Which I'm surprised, it's kind of looking like 2 seeds in a row where no one found rune ring.
I think Podolak actually found the rune ring in the first seed. So he's doing a quick see what that sword is. So he's gonna head for Clock Tower. Can't remember if that's where Podolak found the last soul that Jupiter's looking for. Looks like he's heading for death. Definitely over-equipped for death.
Oh, definitely. Especially after having done Balor fight, that gives a whole pile of experience that the game would not normally expect you to have.
And with one single slash, he's getting 3 hits of 54 in there.
And yeah, Gungener, he's got Rush Souls too. He could slam that out really nicely.
You can see it's doing a lot of hits. Actually, he might be doing 4 hits per slash. There's basically 200 hits. 216 hit points per hit per slash.
So Podolak going back down left reservoir section. We could see some arena or...
There's the other Gravekeeper soul.
Yeah, that's where Jupiter found it first, I think, right?
Yeah, that's where he found the first one in his run. And I think Podolak found the first copy of Gravekeeper Soul in the... Yeah, I don't think Jupiter has the last soul that he needs to finish off Graham.
Oh, definitely, because he would have just go-moded it.
Yeah.
you see how his execution has been like on Valor being taking no damage, for example. He could slam through.
Yeah, he's looking for that fish head soul. That's what he needs to clear this one out.
There we go, cemetery time.
Gonna say before he takes on Legion.
Looks like Podolak is heading for Forbidden Area entrance.
The blue soul. Medusa head. I believe he has to look for... I think he's missing one book. But he does currently have all the souls needed. There's the book. So, he did pick up a big golem soul in the top floor area. He's collecting MP here. And candle.
And Gladiator and Gungeoner fight for Legion for Jupiter. Which leads me to believe that Jupiter doesn't have a rush soul. Because he usually likes to just rush against one of the doors. So then Legion comes over and just walks into the rush, and the door is holding you in rush state. Legion staying there, and you just take the whole pile of hits all in succession.
Alright, so Podolak is heading for the arena. Alright, Legion is down. Get a refill here. Check to see what is blocked here. Actually, that's a good armor upgrade. All rocks suit.
He's got blocking mail on though, so he's not going to switch to that. The only real value is if he's going to sell it. It might be good money.
Also picked up an elfin robe. Do some rippers here. And he gets the fish head soul, so now Jupiter is in go mode. That was the last soul he needed.
Oh, did he come down here to farm it?
That may be the point.
That would have been. That was really smart if that was the case.
Yeah. And there's about 50 of those things in this area.
Yeah, imagine if you have like a rush soul. You just knock all of them in the room out at once.
Didn't take him too long to farm, so he just needs to find a warp point and warp to the top floor. Although I don't remember where the fish head pedestal drop was. I have to imagine that Podolak is looking for the last book that he needs. Alright, he's picked up the Sherman ring. That was the ring we missed earlier in the race.
Alright, so I don't believe we've seen this check that Podolak is doing right now.
Yeah, I think we went through there. There wasn't much in the arena. Other than that one book, I don't think there was much.
Yeah, because we definitely saw like the DDR room. Maybe we did see that. I thought I saw that samurai armor. Could have been different seed though.
Yeah, it was a different room that had samurai armor. I think it was this one. See, Jupiter's getting about 40 hit points per hit with his sword.
So I was just thinking, Did Jupiter ever go do the rest of the study?
No. I don't even think he's entered the study room. That might have been where the fish head soul was.
Yeah, because that would make sense, because you usually delay doing study until he can enter through Forbidden. But he never got the equipment to actually get into Forbidden. And I mean, he kept doing other checks elsewhere, and I don't think it ever came to the point where he decided he'd need to go do study front-wise. Which means he never shopped and does not have a whole buffet of healing items. So if that's the case, he needs to be more careful.
Especially once he gets... Well... I imagine he'll aggressively save before each fight as well. It's gonna line up for chaos. Alright, so Jupiter just finished off Graham. And he'll pick up a rune ring. From, yeah, the post-Graham drop was a rune. One of them was rune ring, the other one wasn't really an important item.
Alright, so off to Julius fight there while Podolak is fighting Valor. Real nice floor finish for Podolak, getting those 3 hits off on one jump, doing the jump and slash, then the double jump, flash up and back down.
Yeah, he's gonna pick up the black belt there. I think he's missing book number 1.
Yeah, which is in the arena, right? Or am I incorrect? I was thinking of that one up over top, like Red Minotaur room. Like Vanilla Leviton. Could be wrong, but...
Could be wrong. I don't think,
Yeah, I'm wrong.
I don't remember it. I don't remember it being in the arena.
Okay.
I think book 3 was in the arena.
Yeah, I could just be mixing up red and orange.
That Heart of Fire action in one more time.
Nice Demon Lord usage there. He's got those fireballs hitting Julius as he's flashing with the Leviton. Ooh, nice one from Julius though too. Getting the whip right in his face across that jump.
Yeah, Julius does a lot of damage each time he does hits.
So Jupiter's doing a lot of these where he's hitting them twice, so he's slashing wall in the air, so when he hits the ground, it cancels. So then he gets the second one out real fast, and he's jumping over the whip to do that same pattern again, because when Julius takes 4 hits, since he will get stunned, and his attack will get immediately stopped. You can't hit him more than 4 times in rapid succession, but that 4th hit will also just cancel what he's doing, so you can do it kind of while you're not in a safe position.
Alright. Jupiter has gotten Julius in the face too. Of course, Julius is going to start using his sub-weapons more.
Podolak running into Cemetery. Didn't really have anything other than this spot to farm, I guess.
I think he already did pick up the soul, but I think he's looking for book 1. But it wasn't in the underground cemetery, because Jupiter already had the book before.
Well, there could be 2 copies of it, but I think we would have noticed if there was a copy there when we were watching Jupiter.
Alright, Jupiter is done with Julius.
There we go. Podolak's getting his Rush Soul game on.
Yeah. You can see right there, Podolak does have the necessary red soul, but he doesn't have book 1, so he doesn't know which the soul is. He needs to take care of Graham.
That's just some huge damage going across there, hitting everything when he rushes through there.
Yeah, it looks like Jupiter's gonna pick up the ramen due to the...
Yeah, he's scraping together all the healing items around, and he's gonna have to play a little more carefully.
Legion is down on Podolak's end. And Legion does drop a Stolas Soul. Legion only drops Soul if you take out all four masses and they're surrounding its core. Does it matter that Jupiter's feet just cut out right there?
It cut out. Hope everything's alright.
Yeah, it just froze right there. Alright. Did Podolak just pick up the book right there? Or, I don't know, he was checking his inventory.
Checking to figure out where else he hasn't checked yet.
Yeah. Take a look to see if Jupiter's stream is still up and running. Real quick while we figure out what's going on here. It looks like yeah. Looks like he either had a disconnect or something. Something going on. I don't know if they are discussing it right now. It looks like Podolak is paused his feed, so we're waiting for that to get fixed.
I don't see any reason to think that's the case. Nothing has been said in the race chat.
Yeah.
So I would expect that Podolak does not know.
Alright, we're good to go. It looks like Jupiter's feed's back up and running. In a case where you've dropped a lot of frames where his stream disconnected temporarily. There's book 1.
Is that the one that Podolak needs, or?
Yeah, that's the one he needs. So there's the Galamoth soul. Although, he doesn't need Galamoth here.
Alright, with Galamoth locking Undyne, which is why nobody checks Forbidden. That
Nobody.
Which, not that Forbidden is actually needed in this case, but...
So Podolak's gonna head for top floor, I believe. And take on Graham.
Yeah, unfortunately for him, though, it's probably a bit late. Unless Jupiter has some serious issue here. I don't see Podolak having much of a chance to catch up. We get Gungener fight on Chaos. Well, for the eyes, anyway. Okay. Levitin is a reasonable choice. 13 damage from the core is, could be a bit of a long fight, but...
It's doing about 116 damage after equipping the Headhunter Soul. Be a little bit careful here. He doesn't have very many healing items, and each hit he takes is about 100. He's taking about 110 damage per hit, but he's also dealing that much damage to each eye. Podolak is on phase 3 for Graham. Although Jupiter has one more eye to clear out.
So I do find it a little interesting, though, that I'm wondering, did Podolak forget that that book was there? Because usually checking in that area is a fairly early check people do. You know, they fight Manticore, and then they teleport back to the beginning as they have double jump, and they go up there and check what the items are. And in this case, I would have expected that both runners would have seen that book fairly early.
That might have been the first time that Podolak went through that room, because he also didn't pick up the Galamoth soul until then either.
Oh yeah, that's a really good point.
Alright, so all 4 eyes are down. And Jupiter does have about 3 or 4 healing lines left. But that core is doing 141 damage per hit, so he's got to be careful. Alright, Jupiter takes down Chaos.
Alright, good game. Second victory for Jupiter, and that is Jupiter takes the win for the whole tournament. Podolak being in second place.
Not sure what the prize money for this particular tournament is, but if it's anything like CB1, both runners should be getting a pretty decent prize.
I believe it's 40 and 20.
Yeah. Because I think in the CB1 tournament, it was the top 4 got a cash prize, so it was like first place, second place, and then third, and then the 2 got lost in the semifinals. Obviously, would also get a small cash consideration, but it was a different tournament. Obviously, that was single elimination. This is double.
Yeah, this is just top 2. The 2 runners we've been watching right here are the 2 that get money.
So we'll see if got any post-race commentary.
I'm guessing not. I've never seen Jupiter come into commentary. Jupiter often will come into like the channel text chat, but I can't say for sure about Podolak. I don't believe I've heard Podolak either.
Alright, so I don't believe we're gonna get post-race commentary. I think Jupiter already closed off his stream. We'll see if Podolak wants to join in for post-game, if either one wants to jump in for post-race commentary. Alright, so Jupiter ended up taking both matches. In a situation where he could not afford to lose a match in order to win the tournament. I was going to say, he played both seeds pretty well. Ended up playing this race pretty well. So anyway, Fuse, what did you think of the 2 matches overall?
It was pretty interesting. We had 2 very different seeds. Between like the second one having like really aggressive early progression and that Panther right at the start, whereas we didn't see Panther at all in the first one. And although I guess it took a long time to find Flight in the second one, so we had like everything but Flight came really early.
I think, in the first match, I think Jupiter did get Flight in pretty early in the seed overall. That was kind of the difference.
So we did have like worse than average equipment, which I guess was nice because it made these fights a little bit harder. These runners certainly can handle it, and it's nice to watch. Because you have like there was a blocking mail in the second seed, but other than that, I don't believe we saw any top tier armor. There's no Demon's Mail ever sing. And there weren't any of those like top tier weapons popping up either, like the Claim or Positron Rifle, or kind of ended up being Leviathan was kind of the best we got.
Yeah, it kind of definitely puts both runners to have to find backup options for taking down all the tough bosses in this game.
So it looks like Podolak will be coming in for interview.
All right, welcome.
Hello.
So, congratulations on the second place finish for the Aria tournament.
Thank you.
So, do you have any thoughts about how both races went tonight?
I felt good about how I played on the first one. He just did a little. He must have. I don't know if he went a different route or something, or if he just went a similar route but just played it better. But the second one, I made a couple dumb mistakes, so that felt pretty bad.
Yeah, I think in that first round he went out of logic to find an early giant bat soul is what I think was the major difference in that one.
Oh yeah, you had giant bat way earlier than Jupiter did, and I don't believe either of you found Hippogriff, which was interesting.
Yeah, I don't think I have found Hippogriff on that one. But the second one, I don't know how I forgot about those 2 checks in just outside of the teleporter room. I think it's because early on I had really low health, so I went there to heal, and I just completely forgot to do the checks there. And that either cost me the race, or at least I probably would have been closer if I didn't forget about those. Because I'm not sure.
Yeah, because you definitely spent a good chunk of time looking around for that book, and I don't know how much earlier you would have been in Go mode, but it could have made a difference.
I know I would have not done Catacombs at all, so that's probably like 3 or 4 minutes. And then I'm not sure. I think I would have gotten to skip Balor. I would have still had to do Arena, but I don't think I would have had to do Balor. So that's probably another 2 or 3 minutes. So it would have been close, but
You routed that extremely differently from Jupiter. Jupiter went down to Arena quite quickly. We had a very early Balor fight.
Yeah.
I don't think Jupiter went to study at all.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Jupiter never found a Rush Soul. Never checked Forbidden or Study. So I don't think Jupiter had Undyne. Was it No, Undyne was in.
I never had Undyne. I think Undyne must be in Galamoth.
Yes, Undyne was in Galamoth, and then the Rush Soul, I believe, was down in Study. So you picked up Devil there, and Jupiter never had that to get into Forbidden.
Okay. Yeah, I still can't believe I just forgot about those 2 checks. That was... I don't know. Other than that, I feel like I played pretty well. The weapons were really generous on that seed. A lot of good ones all around.
Really? Because I was kind of noticing, like, I mean, I guess you had like a Gungener and Leviathan, but I would have thought, in regards to generous seeds, there was no Claim, no Balmung, no like Final Sword.
Yeah, it might not have had like claim or anything, but it did have early, what's it called, the Atsutsuna, and that was really nice for Death and a couple other bosses. So it might not have had that great of weapons, but it's had good enough weapons early on that it wasn't that hard.
So any other thoughts on that seed or tournament in general?
No, that's about it.
All right. Thanks for stepping on in. Good races overall in the tournament, and hope definitely see another one of these tournaments overall for the next year's SpeedGaming event. So everyone watching, make sure you follow both follow Podolak on Twitch as well as Jupiter. Both of them very good Castlevania Aria randomizer runners since they made it this far. And before we wrap up, if you any closing thoughts on this overall tournament? I was only able to catch the final round, kind of just get an idea of what this tournament was from the start to end.
It was pretty exciting overall. We definitely had a bunch of close matches here. I'm just really glad that things went smoothly with the switch to different randomizer. And we had
So for those watching at home and interested to play, want to tell them where they can find the webpage or somewhere to be able to create and download randomized seeds to play?
Well, there's definitely the link can definitely be found on the Discord. I'm not going to try to like spell it out to everybody because it's not trivial, I guess. Hopefully there's a link to the Castlevania Randomizer Discord somewhere on there. But this one is a web-based one that you just open up in your browser. You can drag your ROM in, and so don't need to download anything to work with it. There's also some other options that were not used in this, like there's boss shuffle, and there's still stuff being added.
So any things that you're looking forward to adding in the Aria Star randomizer?
This was mentioned on one of the other races, but hoping to get area randomization in there, so at some point, so different areas link to different other areas. Probably some more different logic modes will get added at some point. There have been people asking for no logic, which is a little bit questionable, as you need some logic because you could easily there's way too easy to get impossible seeds, but some other item placement options should get added at some point.
So anyway, wrapping up here, FuseCV is the creator for this particular version of the randomizer, so if you have any questions about it, make sure to ask him either on Discord or wherever else you can find him. if you're interested in playing the Aria Randomizer. So we're gonna wrap things up, and congratulations to Jupiter for winning the tournament overall, Podolak for finishing in second, as well as all the other runners that participated in this tournament and putting together some good races. So we're gonna step aside, obviously, and everyone else enjoy the rest of the SpeedGaming live tournament. There's a few races left, including the combo randomizer that's still going on. That final match being on SpeedGaming 3, as announced earlier. Well, as other different randomizers and tournaments that should have some pretty exciting finishes overall.